to begin with your thoughts on the relationship between City Hall and the LGBT community, how it stands now, and if it needs to be strengthened and how you would go about doing so.
Well, the City Council in its entirety, through the leadership of Kristen Wong-Tam, have been really connected to the community, LGBTQ community. However, we have a mayor that won't come to Pride or World Pride, and that's just not acceptable. That's why we need to change direction and why we need a new mayor.
So what does, in terms of the office of the mayor, having someone in that position who's openly and unequivocally supportive of the community, how does that change the morale both of the community itself and the city as a whole?
I think it's very, very important that you have a mayor that you can be proud of, a mayor that have long history with the LGBTQ community, someone like myself that have, since I was a school trustee, been on the forefront to fight for anti-homophobic curriculum, implementing teachers' training, pushing for equal rights benefits for Metro Toronto workers, whether they're police or firefighters and ambulance drivers, etc., and also pushing for equal marriage in the House of Commons. So someone that have a good track record, someone that would champion the community, someone that if the community say, hey, we need a shelter for some of the homeless LGBTQ young people. Well, yes, of course, you champion it and would stand up in support of the community hub, the sports hub, for example, and be proud.
So now on that note, the 519 Community Center released the Village Study shortly before World Pride this year, which among other things primarily recommended that the Church and Wellesley corridor and the village in itself be a cultural hub and have cultural anchors. So, you know, kind of building upon what is there now with Buddies and Bad Times Theater and having more of those kind of community and artistic spaces. Do you support this, and how would you go about implementing those recommendations?
Oh, absolutely. I have long history with 519 and Buddies, and having the community hub makes total sense, whether it's sports hubs or that includes diversity and inclusiveness. And all of that is very, very important. I will go to the federal government and say, look, partner with us and let's get the federal government excited and get some funding back to our city.
Now, because you mentioned the federal government, it's been suggested that because of your political history and political affiliations, that perhaps you're too much of a polarizing figure to especially deal with the Conservative government. How would you respond to that?
That's absolutely not true, because if you look at the accomplishment I was able to make when I was a member of Parliament, whether to get the funding of the gas tax being invested back to Toronto, having it indexed. If you look at the subway that is being, the subway trains, the new trains that are on Yonge Street, part of the funding of that subway trains came from negotiation with the federal government so that they're funding on public transit.
I want to just return back because we touched on youth briefly. In terms of mobilizing that LGBT youth vote, how do you make this election something pressing and something that they feel that they need to engage with?
Well, I think it's important never to take the rights for granted. And it's important to say that we need to be proud of our city, but also be proud of who represent us.
Right.
I have long history with LGBT youth through 519, fundraising for 519. The youth line, the LGBT youth line, started from my Metro Toronto office.
Right.
And condoms in schools, that was made possible when I was a school trustee. So all of these things are possible. There's so many other things we can do together if we have a good representative, a good mayor at City Hall.